Hi, everyone. This is a new session where we continue to develop an entity intelligence .NET library that allows developers to use as a component to translate natural language into a SQL query. In this particular session, we're going to go over what is implemented today and, the path forward, basically. And Omar, I believe, we kind of resolved all the issues with the data service in terms of models and naming conventions and all that. So it is a good chance here to kind of look at our previous session because I really honestly can't find the architecture that I need to find a way to there is this program called Lucid. Have you ever heard of it? Lucid?
Yep.
And it basically it allows you to kind of share your draw IO, across multiple teams. May as well just try it and see if it works for us. But really, just from a previous session, this was our architecture here. We basically went and said we have OpenAI broker all the way up to the SQL generation processing service, and then we resolve the conflict on the data service. So the piece that was basically missing is to build a data processing service. But you said you wanted to kind of go over the naming convention. You want to make this session like a cleanup, kind of get things together. I'm okay with that. Let's dive into it. Better now than ever, right? I appreciate your due diligence there and dedication. So let me spin up Visual Studio here real quick. I already have it running right. I only have like 12 instances on a good day, just running all kinds of crazy stuff. There's some interesting research that I've been working on for Blazor. Are you familiar with Blazor, Omar? Have you heard of Blazor before?
I heard, yeah, but I actually never did any work at it. Yeah,
So
never
what
did.
has been what has been keeping me busy in the last, 4 5 weeks from so there's the streams and then there's the actual content. The stream is every day. Let's chat, let's talk about something, and let's build something useful and interesting. Instead of just regurgitating design patterns and architectural patterns, just build a project. Just show people how it actually looks like. Take it for a drive and see what this pattern actually does. I can tell you 9 times out of 10, if you take any pattern that is out there, something like the dependency injection, dependence inversion of control, or any of that, and you start experimenting, you're going to come up with your own patterns, and that's the beauty about this. But anyway, let me just come back to the project here. So the state of things, if I go on to the main branch, and I'm assuming we don't have any open PRs as we stand today. I'm just looking here real quick. Just going to Entity Intelligence, looking at the pull request. Yeah, we are clean. We don't have anything outstanding here. So now pulling up from main, really to know the state of things, you don't have to go look at things, just run your tests and see. And for people that are having, because I heard this, Omar, from a couple of people that Visual Studio sometimes hangs, they're not able to kind of get things going, just do .NET test like this. It will go do all that for you. And it will run it on the command line is always much, much faster than using the GUI, right? If you want to run it this way, and you still get to see your results. So there's 56 tests passing on the unit tests. You have acceptance, one passing, and integration, one passing. That's because we didn't make it all the way to the top yet. Eventually we will, but we haven't made it all the way up to the exposure layer. So that makes so much sense. With that being said, you wanted to do something different today. Tell me what you want to do, and I will follow you. Tell me.
First of all, there is a branch we've left it without merging it yet. It's Hassan Habib code drop rename metadata to
Oh,
table
I thought
information.
we didn't even create it. We didn't even create a pull request for it. That's a
No,
shame.
yeah,
Let's do that.
I did some renaming as well in it, like after the last session.
Okay, let's do it. So let's see here. So if there's a branch, it should pop up in here and tell me, hey, do you want to create a pull request? Unless you're talking about, let's look at the branches. So there is one in here, code drop, rename metadata to table information. I'm assuming this one, right? So
Yeah,
this is, okay, code drop. Rename metadata to table information. I thought we were done with this one, honestly, but let's take a look and see where things are. Here's a pull request, and let's just take a look here and see. Um, I love how all our commits are verified. That's pretty cool. So what's left on this piece here from your standpoint?
No, this is like simple, like just renaming and stuff. But after we merge this, maybe let's look at the main, at the final main, and see.
If there's
Uh,
anything that doesn't make any sense?
I
Yeah, I
think
agree.
folder wise, we may need to rename a few things. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So let's just do that. Hmm. So I'll pull out this branch and kind of because running it locally is much easier, of course. So we can do that. Let me go on to standard entity intelligence and then go on to let's put these on the side a little bit. Let me go pick up that branch that we created. If I type in code rub, how many do you think is going to come out? Here it is. There you go. And then I'm going to synchronize. So you did push a couple of commits basically.
Hmm.
Cool. So I'm looking at the commits here. There's stable metadata. This is all you. Fantastic. Don't you just love how you can, when you break it into smaller commits, you get to see exactly the history. It's like archaeology, but for software. You get to see how everything is going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you noticed something weird about our software? We rarely use any comments anywhere. Have you noticed? Aren't you
Yeah.
weirded out by that?
That's good. Yeah.
Let me show you a picture I was just publishing today about code commits and all that. This is what some code commits look like. Let me just paste this somewhere so you can see it. Um, it's hilarious. You're gonna love it. This here I have to put it in just a moment. Can I do that? Save image as desktop. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna open it up in here. You're going to see something really interesting about code commits. So code commits in general are advised if and only if you can, the person that's reading your method can't have access to the code, or the client that's consuming the method doesn't know exactly how it operates. You're indicating contracts. This is where I will say, okay, fine, put a code commit there. But what do you think when people kind of do this? Let me show you this. This is hilarious. I'll show you first an example and I'll show you what it looks like in real life. If code commits were an actual thing in real life. So if you have something like this, public integer get number, and this guy basically, let's say get random number, right? And this guy returns random dot next 0 to 1000 or something like that, right? Imagine if someone went like this and did this. Gets random number. What's the point of this commit here, comment here? What does it do from your perspective?
What does it do? It's
Nothing.
like
It's
it
useless.
adds nothing. Yeah. It's
It's
assuming
useless.
that the name of the function is good, it adds nothing, which is good in this case,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
It kind of forces people. You know when commits were really useful? When people used to do this nonsense. People used to do this. And you have no idea what RFS is. So please explain to me. That's just like old school classic programming, right? People used to do this before. They used to kind of just, the minimal amount so they can, in their heads, it was expediting the development, right? So instead of you typing the entire name, that was before there was IntelliSense and AI and all of these tools that we have today that you barely are typing anything because of Copilot and Code Complete and all that,
Mm.
right? So it made sense, I guess. I could understand. I try to kind of reason with things that doesn't make sense to us today. But if I'm saying get random number like this, and you go up there and say gets random number, and it's a private method in a private class in a private service where nobody has access to it unless they read the code, you're kind of wasting time, right? So what does this comment look like? It looks like this. You're gonna love this one. Check this out. What do you think? You see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
So
Stating the obvious, like basically.
like like what could possibly be Like, you see what I'm saying? I mean, someone told me this is helpful at night, which I could understand, but during the day,
Sometimes actually there is I saw this examples many times. Like you say integer e or like var e equals something. E stands for entity, and like they
then
spend
why don't you
effort in
just
explaining what e is above it. Right?
why don't you just, yeah, like, just name, I mean, it forces engineers to be very explicit about their naming conventions. So when
Mhm.
they're really trying to tell you something, do you know, Omar, these days when I have a lot of mentees, right? And these days, so Gregory's like radio frequency sequence. Sure, sure, let's go with that, Greg. But you know, these days when I try to teach people C sharp or any programming language, I tell them I'm going to give you natural statements and I want you to express that in code. That's the best way to teach people to try to visualize. And then the next week, I will pick up that very statement they generated and tell them, hey, can you translate this code into a natural statement? Their
Yeah.
own code, right? So that helps them understand and see how important it is. They write because a week later you forgot what you were asked already,
Mhm.
right? So you are in the exact same state as the person who never wrote that code and is seeing it for the first time,
Mhm.
right? They're gonna look at it and be like, "What is this trying to say?" You know how the joke goes. You know, when I wrote that code, only God and I knew what it meant. You know, a month later, only God knows what this code is doing. I don't even remember. That's the joke, and I think it's very true. You know, some
Mhm.
software is crazy to the other thing that I wanted to kind of share with people, you know, our community, the people that are following us and all that, and these are just advice, especially for new people that are kind of learning about the tech industry and trying to kind of break into it. I read this law the other day. It's called Kernighan's law, and the law states the following. It basically says, this is just for everyone out there. Just think about this a lot. It could help you. Debugging is already twice as hard as writing code in the first place. Like when you debug, even if it's your own code, it's already two times as hard, right? Therefore, if you write the code as cleverly as possible, you are by definition not smart enough to debug it because you already exceeded your intelligence trying to write really, really smart code. Like this crazy dude that wrote an entire thing all in regex and it generates the code, you know, so you can actually it's just some craziness, right? Instead of doing that, you know, try to make your code actually dumb. Try to make it simple so people don't spend too much time trying to understand what it's doing. That's the trick. That's the trick. Who would have thought, right? Okay, my friend, let's so this is just kind of getting kind of the juices kind of flowing and getting people kind of in the mood. But let's just go back to this branch here. I'm gonna run all the tests in here real quick. So this is the code drop branch,
Mhm.
Omar. So it
Yeah.
looks clean. It looks good. Our all our tests execute in 230 milliseconds. I think that's pretty good. Um, at some point in time, I'll show you. Do you know about the stress testing that you can do from your computer from Visual Studio? Run until fails. Do you know about this?
Is it the old load test project or
No,
not so?
no, 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 no. There is, if you do Control R U, it will run until failure. Like it will keep running it until something fails.
I didn't
And
know
it's
that.
and it's configured. I don't know why it's not sharing that. It's such a shame. What happens if I share the entire screen? Let's try it. So this is the entire screen. And if I right click, I know you can see my context menu, but it's really, really small, isn't it? You can barely see it, don't you?
Yeah, barely.
But what I'm trying to say is that there is this amazing option where you can basically go and say, for my test, run until failure. Maybe it's up here. Repeat last run, debug all, clear all tests. I love this. Play sound when tests finish running. Back in the ye olden days, tests would take like 14 hours to run. I'm not kidding you. 14 hours.
Mhm.
right? So you would want to hear that nice sound when it's ready.
Especially integration testing. Yeah, they'll need time.
I should
But
I should make a session about configure remote test environment. This is gonna blow people's minds. But anyway, um, so this is good. What else did you want to look at in terms of structure here?
can we look at the brokers initially? Like
Yeah,
AIs, I understand it. Like data, for example, parsers in a folder and
this
data
is
brokers.
wrong. This is wrong. We should have parsers like this, and we should have datas like this, which we already have. So I don't need to create that folder, right? And then watch this magic. If I go and pick up these two and move them in here, oh God, is it going to work? Because Visual Studio now, yeah, there you go. One or more will be moved to blah, blah, blah. This operation might take long, sure. And then adjust namespaces of files. I know you can't see it because of the pop-up, but it actually
Hmm.
did adjust it. See how it moved it to
Yeah.
parsers?
Hmm.
Isn't that wild? I think that's pretty cool. So now I can delete this. Now, hopefully, everything that's calling these will not blow up. Let's hope. Yeah, it's running fine. Do you see how
Mhm.
fast this was? Just like it's amazing, right?
Mhm. Okay,
So
that's
now,
brokers.
so that's
I
the
think,
brokers.
yeah, maybe foundation, maybe also need. You know, I
Okay.
saw that Visual Studio Code has a extension for draw.io to be actually you're drawing inside Visual Studio Code. It would be amazing actually if we create an extension for Visual Studio for that. So you see your drawing as a
Yeah,
page here,
yeah, I
right?
know.
Yeah,
I saw it in yeah, VS Code, but it's not in here, unfortunately. You know
yeah,
what's in here though? Let me show you. You could actually add, let me show you something wild in here. I could add an item, a new item, and there is a thing here called class diagram.
yeah,
Have you heard of it? It's
yeah.
I don't know if it's still around. Gregory might know about this, but you basically directed graph document. Bro, I don't even remember that one. So brokers is your brokers. And then can I swear I don't even remember that one, but I know I so let's see. Generic node, here's your service, right? And you could generate classes from that, which is wild. You could do a lot of crazy things in here
Mhm.
with this. Watch this, right? So Visual Studio comes built in with its own kind of, and then I could add another node in here. I'll show you something really cool about this in a second, but if I go edit and I say you could leave comments and stuff like that, and then you could add another generic node, and let's say this is a controller, right? And I can pull that in here like this, right? And also you can make a connection. So now they're
Mhm.
connected to each other. As far as I remember, see if I go to view content, I think it's going to do something, but um, there used to be a way, and I know it's not this one in particular, but there used to be a way where you can generate C# code out of that,
I
right?
remember something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. I don't remember, but did you know that you could have like UML diagrams in Visual Studio and it's its own projects, it's its own file. It's even generated. What is this PNG though? Oh, that's the stuff that Gregory made. What do you think about that? Pretty cool, huh? See?
We can move the diagrams here.
These diagrams?
Like when we draw like that, you know, each application has its own architecture drawn here. So when someone looks at it actually in GitHub, they just see high level how it is all structured.
Ooh, that's actually a great. Well, you can't do that with Draw.io either,
Yeah,
can
no,
you?
like with no. If we do it with Draw.io, we just maybe take an image and put it in a README file or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, here it's just an solution item comes. But yeah, it's just kind of it's good to see how things are structured before digging into the code.
Right. I know there is more to this, honestly. I know that you can go here and say, let's see, what is this? Create a node with the same category as the node and add a new link to it. And this one here says create a new comment node. So what happens if I add a comment? Exposure layer like that. Okay, so that it's pretty cool. I mean, Visual Studio is full of weird stuff, dude. Like for days. What about this one? Group the selected nodes. Oh my Lord. So I can group these. I don't know why view content doesn't do anything for me in here, but it should. It should have, you know. Now, the real question here is, first of all, to be honest with you, GGML is very interesting. Yeah, Gregory says you have to go back to Visual Studio 2015 for the full UML modeling. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But you know what, Greg? I think it's an option that you can also install with Visual Studio Installer. So if you go to Tools and Features, I'll show you where you can get something like that. I saw that the other day, and I thought I need to talk to someone about this. So look at this class designer right here. Can you guys see the class designer? That's the guy. That's your guy right here. And this class designer is wild, and I really want to show people this piece. Since we're hanging out, we may as well. So let me see if I can add this class designer in here. Class designer? I don't remember it being its own project. I know that for a fact. I think it needs to be like a part of the solution itself. So in Visual Studio, so there's add and then there's new item, right? And then I can go for class designer. I'm surprised it's not there. Yeah, that's true, Greg. I don't know if it will generate the code. That's true. But it is worth just showing people how to do this. Is it just a new project that you have to create? That really is stupid. Let's see here. I honestly don't remember. I remember, Omar, at some point in time, we used to be able to generate a class and then scaffold a controller with a database with a model without writing one line of code.
I remember that one actually was from the menu. You click add, like you feel a wizard kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a
yeah,
wizard.
yeah.
And then all of these things went away because it just didn't hit mass adaptation. That's the problem, right? I really don't remember. I think you could only do these with the .NET Framework project. So Visual Studio Class Designer. Yeah, see it. The link is even already opened because I was looking at that the other day. So you select class designer from individual and then add a blank class diagram to your project. So Solution Explorer, right click, project node, and then choose add new item and then Control Shift A, add new item dialog opens, expand class diagram from the template list. Add class diagram based on existing types. Yeah, Gregory is talking about the T4 templates and all that. So if I take that broker in here, can I generate? I don't think it works anymore with the .NET Core. But I bet you if I create just for funsies, if I create a new .NET framework project, .NET framework like that, yeah, something like Windows Forms or Console App .NET Framework. And if I create just a random .NET Framework application, I bet you I can do, look, view class diagram, code cleanup. Let's see here. Add new item. Look at all these. I know you can't see any of these, but
Yeah.
there's a boatload of options. Let me just see if I can get the class designer in here. Class,
Actually, I pasted something in the chat. There
you
is
already did
you can install something with the installer to kind of draw your architecture. That's what I was looking for actually.
the
There
code
would be
map.
the code map and the dependency validation. there will be a new menu called architecture that will show up on the top. Once you install it's from the installer. You need to go to the installer and
Yep,
install.
yep, yep. And you can pop up the installer right from Visual Studio, by the way. But let's go back here. So if I don't have this, I would be very surprised. Data storage and processing. This is sitting where? This is sitting in individual
Yeah,
components.
yeah.
Okay.
Code maps. Search for code maps.
Code
Yeah,
map. There is code tools, Azure DevOps, Click One Publishing, GitHub DGML editor. That's the one that I was just trying.
yeah.
And then there
Select
is,
dependency validation as well. Dependency validation is like a fourth
there it
one.
is.
And code map, you don't have it.
It should be here somewhere.
You can search on top.
Yeah, let me look for it. Code map. Nope, I think that's an enterprise thing. I'm running on professional. That's why.
Maybe.
That's an enterprise thing. That's why. Okay. And what else can I do here? Modeling SDK, Visual Studio. Okay, let me do that dependency validation stuff. So just modifying, it'll update a couple of things. I need to kill Visual Studio, unfortunately. Sorry. And then I need to retry. Oh, I have a ton of visuals. Okay, let me stop this. Let me just cancel that for a second because I'll have to close like uh, other instances that I really don't want to close at the moment. But let's just let's just go back to this. I still do think that this piece, the dialogue, the DGML is pretty cool,
Yeah,
right? In and of
what I was
itself.
talking about is when you click that new architecture menu that you will see, you
Mhm.
click a button and it generates this DGML diagram for you for the whole application.
Do you have
Uh,
it on your machine?
no, I don't, but in my Visual Studio, no, I don't here. It's a professional as well, so I can't see it. I see it in the documentation, but not in the
And that's
line.
and that's that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Let me kind of rebuild this project real quick and see the stuff that I added. But I did push the so okay, so it still has that nonsense. Let me just delete all of that. And then here's the diagram as well. I'm going to delete all of that. I do think that this diagram it's really worthy of its own session just to talk to people about, the capabilities of Visual Studio. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, have you also heard rumors about Visual Studio going away?
I heard it at the time that VS Code was released, but not recently.
I really hope not. I'm not a big fan of VS Code personally. I do like the richness of Visual Studio, but these are just rumors. There's nothing really for sure, so it doesn't mean anything. Just people talking. Okay, let's run a quick code cleanup. And the code cleanup, you see these unnecessary dependencies that are sitting here. I will just run this code cleanup real quick and it'll take care of that for me. It should. Look, I have 12 different changes, just code cleanup. If you go into any one of these, it will take care of these existing dependencies. So code drop, code cleanup, this is taken care of. Okay, that's also pushed. What else do you want to do? The foundation
Foundations, yeah.
services. Let's
Foundations,
let's
then
see what our
models.
right. Let's see what our foundation services look like. So under foundation, there's AIs and datas and queries. That's bad. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't have anything datas at all. It should all be either queries or table metadatas. So if I pull this out, will it change? Yeah, it does. I love that. I mean, this is a feature that, I think Writer and Eclipse and NetBeans. Do you remember NetBeans for
Yeah.
Java?
Mm.
So let me throw away the data away. So these are queries and table metadatas, basically. So that's one. Let's make sure our solution still builds. It does not. So it didn't really update all the way. Let's see what the problem here is. all of this goes away, and then this Control KE will clean up that stuff. The good news is that it's really tiny changes, so it's not like once you pull one reference, because the system is properly standardized, if you do Control KE, you can clean it up real quick. What else? We have a couple in here. Oh, it's just the reference, doesn't care about anything else. Cool. And the last one here is this guy, and then a couple other errors in here. Omar, have you ever had the configuration for this really wide scroll where you get to see your code from a 10,000 feet perspective? Have you ever had that before?
No, I saw it, but I never used it.
Some people do that,
Oh,
but it's just weird.
too
Okay,
much.
so I'm rebuilding. Let's see here what else is missing. OKE, that takes care of that. And let's see here. Just a second. Okay, so this is taken care of. And there should also be another error in here. Control KE, that's taken care of. Yeah, that should be it. The only thing that's left here is this formatter service is obsolete, and we need to probably do something about it. But I don't know what it is yet, so we'll see. We could build like a library that's called fake SQL or something like that. I don't know yet, Omar. This is just something for, I don't know, maybe Paul Wardy could do that. Maybe Paul Wardy could take care of that piece. We'll see. Okay. So now if I run everything here, so this is all building completely fine. And then I'll just do another code cleanup real quick. It's all good. So I'll just go here and say code cleanup, and moving to single namespace. No nested namespaces, basically. All right, what else you want to do? I think the naming convention needs to also be standardized, right? So we have AIs, we have datas. AIs and data sit where? What is this? Models, services. What is this? Is column data used anyway anymore? Column data, column metadata. This guy is not used anywhere. This can die, right? We don't need that guy anymore.
It's used once, I saw. No.
Nope, it was not. See if I rebuild, or maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Oh, you're not kidding. Okay, fine. It's used in table metadata. Then what is using table metadata? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, this one we replaced, so we can remove.
We can throw that away. So if I rebuild this again, no errors. See? What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. The table metadata for a folder name. Does that make sense to you?
Nope. I also don't know what's going on here. I see models. I see AI. Okay, this is the AI configuration. Okay, fine. That's acceptable, sort of. But then datas and brokers. Well, the AI was also for the broker, right? So that doesn't make sense, right? And I think this table column metadata should live under the foundation server because it's not really coming from the broker. You know what I mean? It's coming from a it's 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 a model that we decide to map to, right? So I don't know. What do you think? Should it live with the broker? And then there's under services. I see, where is this being used? Is it actually used in a service? It's used in the data query service tests and then in the data query service.
Mhm.
So it is under the query. This guy should actually live right here. under queries, just like that. What about this result row? This guy lives under the data query service, so this guy also will go live under queries. There you go. So
Mhm.
now I don't need that folder completely.
Yeah, because I was trying to match it to the diagram you drew, and yeah,
Yeah.
these are good changes.
What about this guy? This guy is sitting under data information services. Whoa. This is in the tests. Okay, so let me go back here and let's see here if, so back to this, okay, back to the DB context configuration. This guy is being used where? In the broker itself, under data. So data broker, okay, fine. Um, what else is in here that's necessary for this? So this is table column. This is under data information service. So both of these, dude, are living under services. Both of them. Where's this data information service though? Is it under table metadata? Yeah, that's where it is. So these two need to go under table metadatas, basically. We're gonna fix the name in a second, but yeah, these two definitely go here. Is that a proper assessment?
Yeah. Yes.
So what's left here?
The whole table, the folder called table metadata is under foundation. Okay, so this is models. Okay,
Yeah,
right?
these are the models. Yeah,
Okay. And
see?
under services, we also call it, if you go under foundation,
Mm-hmm.
the name of the folders here.
Oh yeah,
One
we're
is,
gonna need to change these.
yeah,
I'm gonna need to take this guy completely out under foundations. And I'm gonna need to take that guy also completely out under found. I know some things are gonna stop barking at us, but that's okay. And then data is basically get thrown completely out of the equation. So now let's try to rebuild that and see what the world looks like. Okay, what's missing? It says this table information is what? The type or name system could not be found. Sure. Control period. Got it. Done. Cool. What else is blocking this? This is a nice code cleanup session. I like it. So going back to this, formatter is obsolete. This here is ambiguous. Ambiguous why? Entity intelligence data or table metadatas. I think it's the table metadatas, if I'm not mistaken. Data information service. Foundations. Yeah, it should be living under this guy, if I'm not mistaken.
does it exist in both places? Like it didn't delete, maybe?
Wait. What is this thing? Data information service internal. What is that? Um, is this just the validation table metadatas? Oh, this guy's still living under datas. Why? It shouldn't be doing that. It should be like this. Control KE. I hope I didn't break anything. So that puts this exceptions outside of the equation because it didn't really clean up the way I wanted it to. It just kind of took out there, right? And that means that this guy also is good, and this guy needs to be, yeah, this is good, right? So that means if I go and rebuild here, what would be missing? Control KE, that will clean up that. Control KE again, KD, control period will take care, simplify this guy. Cool. And then let's rebuild this. It looks good. Let's run the tests. Come on. Look at all these changes. Crazy, dude. But yeah, tests are looking good. So let's just take another look at it. So under I think datas here should go away in the test themselves as well. So I'm just going to do that, but this is not going to impact anything. So I'll just move them under foundations while we're at it, and then completely get rid of the word datas. So basically the easiest path for this is that whatever you see datas, that's when you know there's trouble. Did it actually update? No, see, it doesn't update the namespace though. I'm really disappointed that it does this because now, like, I have to actually go and do that by hand. It should have done that automatically. I mean, the pop-up that showed up when I did that did it for me automatically, but I don't know. If I touch this, there, at least this intelligence. Did you see this little tap? Do you see this guy? I don't know what this
Mhm.
is, but if I do tap, it takes care of it for me. What about this guy? This guy also has datas. Oh, I love that. I didn't even do it for even one time in here, and it just takes care of it. There you go. Fantastic. So let's just rebuild. So that will be perfect. And then let's run these tests again. Okay, the one thing that really bothered me is I don't know what this is. Should we just call it schema table name like that?
Yeah, so I didn't change this because it's a string that Milan is splitting. So the way
Why? Why
because
did he do it like that?
he generates the data in a way that doesn't match what the service is doing, right?
No, no, I'm talking about the variable name.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just weird. Mm, mm,
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean the underscores. You mean okay?
exactly.
Yeah.
And this processing in here, we need to have AI in here, right? So this is AIs like
Mhm.
that. Did we do the same thing under, yeah, AI? So I can take all these files. I bet you it will update the namespace with AIs because it works on the one file. Did it? No, it did not. Okay, let's do that here then. So that's for this guy. That's here. Dot AIs. And then the same thing for the rest of these. Fantastic. Now if I go and rebuild this, it should all be perfect. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the. Sergio says right click over Solution Explorer, Solution Synchronize. Namespaces do the trick. Really? Okay. I will take away the word AI and I'll try it just for funsies. So right click. I know you can't see it. Sync namespaces. Sync namespaces, and then it popped up this. You guys can see this dialog. Omar, you can see this dialog in here, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, you're not kidding. Amazing. Sergio, thank you so very much. I love it. I don't know what else, like what other namespaces are updated, but I'm pretty sure I updated a bunch, right? So here's another code drop. Remove datas from testing and foundation services. So here's that. I hate kind of pushing crazy bunch of big code changes, but this is just a cleanup, so I think it should be okay. Okay, my friend, what else do you want to do? Let's do Control Shift F. By the way, have I ever told you about the control comma? Control comma.
Brings a menu, right?
It brings this guy here, which is wild. Let me show you. Oh, I can't share it with you. I really hate that. So it brings a super search, super duper search. Can I dock it at least? What if I dock it? Excuse me. I can't show it to you. I don't know what to do. Yeah, Sergio, I agree, Sergio. Visual Studio has a boatload of really cool features. I don't know how to show you this, but you could try it on your machine. It's a shame. I've been streaming for years, but somehow the technology is going against me here. But this super search, it's optimized like nothing I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the finest ways to find things as soon and as fast as possible. So anyway, I'll show you what it does, even though you're not actually seeing if I type in datas in here, it will find every single file in this project that has the word datas in it, and it will fix it for me. So you see, for instance, it took me here, it says, hey, you still have datas in here. And it's true. Why do we still have datas in here? That doesn't make sense, right? Where is this guy being referenced then? This is in the data information service. So does it make sense that we move it in there? I think it makes sense if we move it in there. What do you think? Under foundations, table metadatas,
Yeah.
take that right here, an update. Fantastic. I'm just trying to destroy this whole data thing, just
Hmm.
completely get rid of it. So it makes sense that I move brokers out and DB context configuration out under brokers, and then get rid of data. I'm telling you, Visual Studio makes the cleanup and optimization super easy, dude. Like really, really easy. Here's one. So yeah, this says, hey, you have datas, but it's not needed anymore. It doesn't clean up after itself, which is a little problematic, but it's definitely worth the shot. So this is now clean. Fantastic. What else can we do here? Are you having fun? I'm having fun.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's a much better state right now.
No, not yet, dude, because brokers should have AIs underneath it for the configurations. And we should have for this data broker, I can have datas
Data.
in here. That's okay. And put that right here. And now we're cooking. Now we're doing the right stuff. So I should see red in here. Yep. Yes, it did. Perfect. Oh man, this is very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Okay, let's rerun this again. Okay, let's run the tests real quick. .NET test because I need to show off.
I think Visual Studio implemented all the resharper features in the
Oh
long
yeah.
days.
Oh yeah. Absolutely 100%. Dude, I
Yeah.
saw this thing evolve before my eyes. The very first Visual Studio I used, it was this guy here. It was called Visual C++ and Visual C Sharp from 2005. That's the very first one that I used. Before that, it was yeah, there it is. I remember that guy. I remember that guy very well. I remember this green page. Omar, you probably remember. Do you remember this? I remember this very well.
I do. I was like just starting university then,
Yep, I was
but
still
I
in
remember
school.
it. Yeah.
We should probably not say that in front of Gregory. Be like, "Oh, you children." This is an evolution from where we are. Anyway, I remember this very, very well. There was no dark theme, there was nothing. It was just really merely, what's that? Visual interdiv. See, I knew he's gonna just say something. Let's see what that is. Visual interdiv. Oh my God. Look at this. That's like, is that Gregory? Was that like on that's Windows 98. That's Windows 98 for sure. Does it have it doesn't have the internet icon. So that was probably not even SE. That was just no, wait, there's an IP address in here. Oh my God. Yeah, that's crazy how just things evolved so fast over the years. I love it. Can you imagine where we're gonna be like 20 years from now? I don't think there will be a lot of coding. It'll be a lot of dictating, and then something else takes care of that and develops it for you.
I was going to say if we are going to be somewhere, that's good. Like, yeah, in the process.
Right. Okay, so one more run for the road. I'm gonna run all of these just to test and make sure things are in good shape. Yeah, all of these are clean, fantastic. And then what we can do now is basically commit it. So here's code drop, uh, single level models for brokers. All right. Anything else that stands out to you in this particular project in terms of naming? The one thing that bothers me a little bit, and I will defer to you in this, the
Table
models.
metadata. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one here is a mess, right? So I fully defer to you. It needs somehow to match the namespace.
Yeah.
So this is probably okay, the column metadata, but table information, something is missing. Do we call it tables and just say it's tables? Because even the exceptions now are problematic, like data information system.
Mm.
Take your shot at it. It's all yours.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, let me go back here to the sorry, Omar, I'm giving you the hard one. But there's the saying, there are two things that are very hard in the software development industry. I think race conditions and naming things. I think it's something that's similar to that. There are two hard things in software engineering. I'm trying to find the quote. Was that Martin Fowler that said this? Yeah, cache invalidation and naming things. There it is. That was by Phil Carlton. There are only two hard things in computer science: cache invalidation and naming things. So, good luck. I'm giving you the naming things to take a look at. Also read for this guy. His name is Martin Fowler. He's a pretty cool
Oh yeah,
dude.
I know. I know.
He's the dude behind. Yeah, I expected that you might know the person. He's, for the people who don't know him, he's the guy that introduced microservices to the world, and then people took it in all kinds of different directions. So, okay,
Would actually be interested in hearing your views on this whole microservices thing, maybe in a session later.
there's only
Uh,
one thing about microservices that I tell everyone: never ever start any project as a
I
microservice.
agree, 100%. Yeah, it's
I see a
yeah.
lot of people get super excited and be like, "Yay, let's build it with microservices," and then they end up in a situation where they have to maintain all of this infrastructure, right? And it's not necessary. Also, it's quite a mystery, and this is where the standard kicks in. It's quite a mystery that people can't, like engineers like hard defined rules to understand the domain, the bounded domains, like the
Mhm.
boundaries of a particular domain. There is no hard rule there. So engineers just go crazy, right? They'll be like, I don't understand. Is teacher a microservice? Or is teacher and students as people a microservice? Or is teacher classes a microservice? It gets crazy. It completely goes out of control. We should have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
We
Because
should
like
definitely.
the standard handles everything inside a microservice, but doesn't handle what's outside, right? And
See, that's not true. That's not 100% true, right? There is when I was doing a session with Sync Fusion people, and I was telling them whatever your microservice is, you can take these exact same components and kind of spread them across microservices because you're still applying the same principles. But I had
correct, but it's not written. It's not written anywhere, right? Like yeah,
that's the problem.
yeah.
It's only recorded, but it's not written, and I need to write it down. If you are interested, just for people that are super interested to know where this is coming from, I will share with you this one session, and then we're gonna need to wrap up. And this one session will specifically talks about how to architect software. I will write the standard architecture at some point. It's definitely on my list, and I need to kind of just uh, you know, get get uh, get enough energy and time. Maybe after this project, we'll see what happens. But there is multiple sessions where I basically talked a lot about the idea of breaking down your existing micro, like allowing your microservice to break apart into many, many other things. And that's a huge advantage. It's in, yeah, Introductions to Systems Design and Architecture. That's exactly where you want to go to actually have a glimpse about the standard architecture. And it's wild. I was doing that at Microsoft, and I invited people from everywhere, and people from different companies and different places started coming in and asking these questions. And I showed them at a scale, how the standard scales up, how do you orchestrate services and all that kind of stuff. Definitely something to take a look at. Anyway, my dear friend, we're at time. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for people watching us, and let's connect again tomorrow. I
Have a good
appreciate your
night.
due diligence. Thank
Bye
you all.
bye.
Take care. Bye.